Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So glad you're here. Today, we're jumping right into something totally mind-bending, but honestly, it's deeply liberating. We're talking about ACIM, Lesson 53. You know those days where your mind just feels like this chaotic loop of stress, and literally everything around you seems to mirror that exact same chaos? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, you're in the right place, because today we are going to completely break down the illusion of that chaos. We're going to map out exactly how our internal mental state projects outward, and way more importantly, how we can escape that cycle and reclaim our peace. Let's get started. Okay, let's dive straight into this. Today's lesson is exactly what it says, reviewing previous lessons 11 through 15. It's a review, but really it's this profound synthesis of 5 core ideas that build a unified foundation for changing how we perceive reality. To give you our exact roadmap for this explainer, here are the 5 specific review statements we'll be breaking down today. Lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14, God did not create a meaningless world. And finally, Lesson 15, my thoughts are images which I have made. Let's unpack these, one by one.
All right, so let's start with our first review, Lesson 11, My Meaningless Thoughts Are Showing Me a Meaningless World. Think of this as framing the ultimate core problem of our entire human experience. The text is basically telling us that since the thoughts we're aware of don't actually mean anything, well, the world picturing those thoughts can't have any meaning either. It's kind of like, imagine your mind is a film projector, right? And the world out there is just the movie screen. If the film loaded inside the projector is just this chaotic, jumbled mess, the image projected outward, yeah, it's going to be a chaotic, jumbled mess too.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how these terms are defined. The source text uses the phrase insane thoughts, but let's translate that into everyday terms. Insane thoughts are really just those anxious, spiraling mental loops. You know, the overthinking, the doom-scrolling mentality, that inner critic that just never ever shuts up. When those loops are running the show, what is producing the world is insane. So naturally, the world we perceive looks completely insane too. But here's the really good news. Reality itself is not insane. We possess real thoughts, right alongside all those anxious ones. And by choosing to let our real, grounded, peaceful thoughts act as our guide, we can literally shift our perception to see a real, grounded world. And that brings us right to Lesson 12. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. I mean, let's be real. When we're trapped in those anxious mental loops, it's incredibly upsetting. It produces a world where there seems to be no order anywhere. Literally, only chaos rules. Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and suddenly traffic is worse, your coffee spills, everyone seems super rude? That is your chaotic thinking ruling a world without laws. And obviously, you cannot live in peace in a world like that. We get upset simply because we're looking at a meaningless, chaotic projection. So the crucial point here is understanding this exact step-by-step cause and effect. It always starts with step 1, chaotic thoughts, which inevitably leads to step 2, a chaotic world. And that results in step 3, a total loss of peace. But the source material gives us this really beautiful out. It says, I am grateful that this world is not real and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. You actually have a choice here. You can simply choose not to value total insanity. You don't have to buy into the stress loop. You can look right at the chaos and boldly say, you know what? I do not choose to value this. So why is it absolutely vital that we stop valuing it? Well, we find the answer right in Lesson 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. This is the ultimate bottom-line consequence of the chaotic illusion. When our world is built on totally insane, chaotic thoughts, it becomes completely undependable. It offers us absolutely no grounds for trust. Madness holds out no safety, no hope. And living in an unpredictable, unsafe environment, that generates deep, pervasive fear. That anxiety you feel right in the pit of your stomach, that is the direct result of believing in a meaningless, undependable world. Let's actually compare these two states for a second. On one side, we have the illusion of reality. This is driven by fear, completely undependable, pure madness. We essentially give this world the illusion of reality, and we suffer immensely from our belief in it. But on the other side, we have true reality, safe, dependable, and totally free of fear. The text tells us, now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. By consciously withdrawing our belief from the illusion, just flat out refusing to buy into the madness, we escape all the effects of the world of fear. Why? Because we're finally acknowledging that this terrifying, chaotic world doesn't actually exist. It was just a bad film on the projector. Let's move to the next step and see how this builds. Here we have Lesson 14,
God did not create a meaningless world. Think of this as a powerful, logical anchor. Regardless of your specific background, think of this as the ultimate source of order and truth. I mean, how could a completely meaningless, chaotic world truly exist if a higher, perfect source did not create it? It just can't. The fear and the chaos aren't foundational to existence at all. They are really just localized glitches in our own thinking.
Let's break down why this matters so much. The source of all meaning holds everything that is real in his mind. And beautifully, the text notes that this reality is in your mind too, because you were created with it. The perfection of creation is our actual home. So the text asks this brilliant, gentle question: why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? You have the power of decision. You can decide to stop wandering around in the haunted house of your own anxious loops and just remember where you really abide. You decide what you tune into.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final review statement. Lesson 15, my thoughts are images which I have made. This is the ultimate empowering realization of the entire sequence. Whatever you see out there is simply reflecting your thoughts right back at you. It is your own thoughts that are telling you where you are and what you are. You are the projector. You are the architect of the images you see.
So, when we look out and see a world filled with suffering, loss, and chaos, it's absolutely vital to realize that we are just looking at representations of our own anxious, insane thoughts. We're actively blocking out the truth. The text beautifully explains that by doing this, we are not allowing our real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. But here is your profound reassurance. These manufactured, terrifying images can never, ever overpower true reality. The images you've made cannot prevail against the truth, because deep down, it is not your true will that they do so. Your real thoughts are just waiting there to shine a beneficent, healing light onto your entire world.
So let's tie this whole narrative back together to our core focus today, reviewing previous lessons 11 through 15. Over these 5 lessons, we've gone from recognizing that our meaningless thoughts show us a meaningless world, to understanding why that upsets us so much, to seeing how it creates paralyzing fear. But then we pivoted. We realized that this chaos wasn't created by a higher truth, and therefore, the terrifying things we see are really just images we've made up. We shift entirely from being victims of our chaotic thoughts to reclaiming our massive visual power. We are taking back the projector. So how do we practically apply this? Well, notice that the source text for this specific review doesn't assign us a rigid timer or some strict daily quota for doing this throughout the day. Instead, it asks for a fundamental, continuous shift in how we react to our own minds. First, catch your chaotic loops. When you feel upset, recognize it's just an insane thought playing out. Second, withdraw your belief in that fear. Literally remind yourself, I do not choose to value this madness. And third, realign with true reality. Remember the power of your decision to let your real thoughts cast their beneficent light on whatever situation you are facing. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to carry with you today. When the stress hits, will you choose to value the chaos, or will you use the power of your decision to trust in reality? The choice is entirely yours, and honestly, it changes everything. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to keep mastering these concepts with clear, structured explainers, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep creating these guides for you. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.